Alright everyone, we're going to start off today by learning how to draw a cube in perspective. And perspective has to do with the element of art, which is space. And so we're going to explore that a little bit and how we create the sense of depth. So what we're going to do first is we're going to start off with a straight line. Be sure you line your ruler up on each side of your paper to make sure that it's straight. And you don't have to put a lot of pressure down. That's the biggest thing with one point or any type of perspective drawing, is that people want to put a lot of pressure down, and that's not really necessary. So just get you a straight line, and then what I want you to do, that's called your horizon line. I want you to put a point in the center, and that is going to be called your vanishing point. The next thing we're going to start off with, obviously, if we're dealing and talking about the elements of art, we want to start off with a shape because we want to make that into a three-dimensional form. So I want you to come over to the corner just a little bit. Make sure once again that you have your ruler set up. I want you to draw another straight line, and what we're going to do is make a square. I don't want you to go too big with your square because this is just going to be one face of your three-dimensional cube. Then sometimes what I tell my students to do is kind of mark these three corners that are closest to the vanishing point, because those are going to be the ones that will recede back to the vanishing point to make them look like they recede back into space. So we're going to take the corner right here of your first cube and we're going to take it back. Now some people take this, it's called a guideline, and some people take this line all the way back to the vanishing point. That's not necessary. You can just take it back how far you want your cube to be. But what you want to make sure is that you line your straight edge, your ruler, up to the corner of this and always to your vanishing point. Anytime you take things back and you want them to look like they're going back, you have to take them to that vanishing point. So line it up with the edge to the vanishing point, and then just take that line back as far as you wish. You can take it all the way back and erase it later if you want. And you should have a line that looks like it's receding back towards the vanishing point. You're going to do the same thing with this corner right here. You're going to line it up with the corner, and oops, if you'll notice, I'm not exactly lined up with the vanishing point, so all I have to do is kind of swivel it so that it will line up. Once again, you can take it all the way back to the vanishing point if you wish, but that's not necessary, but I'm going to show you in a minute how you can sit there and kind of erase it out. So then we go back to that third point, and we're going to take it, line it up with point, line it up with the vanishing point once again, and we're going to take it back. And remember, I'm drawing very lightly. So now we need to close it up. And the great thing about closing your forms up is that most of the time the work's already done for you. If you'll look right here at this line, you'll notice that it is a horizontal line. And it goes straight across. So in order to close this up, we're going to recreate that horizontal line. Once again, remember to use your straight edge, which is your ruler. Line it up with the side of your piece of paper to make sure that you're indeed getting a true horizontal line and it's not crooked. So you're going to go from line to line and just close it up. Just like that. Stop at this line. Don't go on to the next one. And then once again, we're going to look at the other box that's drawn, the other line right here. This one is a straight vertical line up and down, so you can put your straight edge there to check and make sure. That's how we're going to close up the back of the box. It's already been done for us, so we're going to come back here straight down. And then all we have to do is erase these guidelines that we didn't need. That's why I told you not to press down too hard, so that way you wouldn't have all of that you have to erase. Be sure you get it nice, neat, and clean. And that is how you draw a box in perspective. So now, the next step is that you're going to draw 5 boxes. And they're going to be one over here, one over here, and one over here. And I want you to draw one that's going to be directly under or above the vanishing point. And we're going to talk about that in just a second. But we are going to hit a little bit on the light source, which will be a value. So we are going to say that a light source, is right here. I always like to draw arrows because I'm showing where the light source is coming in. And anytime, if you notice, even right here on my hand, directly where the light is coming is always the lightest part. Underneath my hand, obviously, is not getting a lot of sun or direct light, so therefore it's darker. So I like to put a little halo around where the light's hitting it. You can see that little halo. Let me darken it up just a little bit. That's going to be my little halo. That's directly sun. So that's the lightest part of your box. So you're going to come in here on your box And I'm just going to do a cross-hatching technique so that we can kind of get this ball rolling a little faster. And you're going to come in here. This is the furthest away, so that's going to be the darkest. So we're going to come in here and shade. Remember, that's your full value scale that we've been learning during weeks 1 through 4. And you're going to gently start coming off of the pressure a little bit. When you end up here, that's going to be your lightest. So I'm just doing a cross-hatching technique that you learned while we were learning about value. And filling that box in. Doesn't have to be a smooth value. I'm just looking to make sure that you understand that the furthest away is dark, the closest to the light source is light. Okay? Same thing over here. The furthest away is going to be the dark, so you would come in here and darken up that edge. And then you would gently pull that towards the top of the box. This obviously is the furthest from the light, so you could actually just come in and shade this entire face of the cube dark. Just like that. Now, like I said, this is our box number 1. You don't actually have to number your boxes, but I will just for the sake of the demonstration. We are going to talk about a box that goes directly underneath or above the vanishing point. So it's like you're looking directly on top of it. You're standing on top of it looking down. We'll start the same process, the same exact way that we started right here. I want you to start with a square. So line your edges up of your straight edge with your paper so you can make sure that you're straight. Because often we think we're straight, but we're not. So take some time to line it up. It doesn't have to be a big cube. And then erase your extras. Alright, remember I told you that I often like to put dots to the corners that are as close to the vanishing point. So I'm going to put a dot right here and right here. Now this only happens when you're directly below or directly above the vanishing point. It is going to tend to look a little different. So you need to take that corner right there, take it back towards your vanishing point. Remember, you don't have to take it the whole way if you don't want to. Line it up with the corner over here, take it back towards the vanishing point. Always remember, line it up, because if it's right here, it's not right. Line it up with the corner, take it back to vanishing. And then if I'm to close up my box, remember it's always done for me, because when I drew my square, I told myself how to close it up. So if you look right there, that's a horizontal line. That's going to be how we close up this box. So there's a horizontal line. Now if you'll notice, this looks strange, because like I said, we're standing right on top of it. So this is the top of the box. We can't see the sides. We definitely can't see the back of the box, and we can only see the front. This is probably where we're standing right here in this area, looking down onto it. So if we're going to talk about a light source right here, there's your light source. Remember, I always like to put arrows to remind me of where my halo of light will be. So that's my halo of light. And then this is going to be the furthest away, is the darkest. Think about a corner in a room. When you turn on the light, the last place to get it, receive the light is the corner. So that's an easy way to remember it. Shade it in quickly. Don't spend a whole lot of time. Just be sure that you're getting in some of that value scale. And ta-da. Once again, here's my light source, the furthest away, the dark corners. Start to fade it off. And it doesn't have to be pretty. Just has to make the point. But you're starting to learn a lot of vocabulary in this one activity. So like I said, we already have 2 of the boxes. All you need to come through is do another box here and maybe do a box over here and a box over here. So be sure you do a total of 5 boxes. Be sure that you put a light source, which is your sun, and then be sure you shade based on the light source. So these are going to be the 3 things that I'm looking for when I'm grading your paper. It'll be due at the end of class period. You need to be sure that you have your 5 boxes. You need to be sure, we should call them cubes. You need to be sure that you put a light source, which is your light right here. You shade based on that light source. I'm also checking to make sure that you had a horizon line and that you had a vanishing point and that your lines go back. Because I want to show you one that's going to look incorrect so that as I'm leaving you, you know what I'm not going to look for. If you freehand a square, you can always tell. You can notice that they're not even, they're not straight. Then if you're not going back directly, remember this is something you do not want to do. If you're not going back directly to your vanishing point and you're just pulling it back like this, that's not going to be correct. Everything on this paper, if it's going backwards, will line up with this vanishing point. So this is not what we want right here. We want to be sure that you started off with a square and that you pulled them back. And then you closed it up based on how the front was closed up. Remember, at any point in this video, you can always pause and go back to make sure that you're doing everything correct. I wish you good luck, and I hope the best and to see the best of your ability.